Well, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday already, hump day. Oh my gosh, middle of the week. Where does time go? It goes by fast, as we just said, when you're having fun. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you're joining me today on the Today Show brought to you by the Disability Channel. And right now, we're streaming live on Laurie Davis' personal Facebook page, on Self Worth the Missing Link Superstars Facebook page, my YouTube channel, Laurie Davis Show Host, the Disability Channel Facebook page, and also archived at Your Home TV. And we're just all over the map, man. You can find us anywhere. And we're really happy about that. So if you've been a viewer, we've only been out there now about a month. The show is really growing and building a nice audience. And right now we're looking at 6 to 10,000 viewers an episode. So that's pretty substantial growth for a month. And that doesn't include our social media platforms. So we're very excited about the numbers. And if you happen to go on any of these platforms and watch the show, it really helps our ratings if you leave a comment. So that's really powerful, especially in YouTube and some of the social media. Please do that. Leave a comment, because there might just be one thing that we talk about on the show that could change somebody else's trajectory and where they're headed. And that's why we're doing the show, because the content's really rich. We bring on some very, very good people. And we have a very special guest again today, Rob Pallante. And he was on the press box with Doug Smith and I, but he is also a wellness person, and you will learn more about him in a few minutes. Let's see, what else have we got to share? Well, we've got lots of great news in terms of events that are coming up. We just did a weekend event, and I would love to share a little bit about this with you. Once a quarter, I host an event called the Recovery and Performance Summit, and it's a 3-day online event. And this past weekend, we had 18 amazing speakers. And what our speakers do, they come in and they spend 15 minutes describing a situation that they were in, the next 15 minutes describing how they got out of there, and then the last 15 minutes on where they are today. And we had everything from, cancer survival to injury survival to bad marriage survival, you name it, we've got a speaker for it. And so we'll invite you to the next one. It's September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we keep a base load of foundational speakers. And then we always introduce 8 or 9 new speakers on each summit. So if that's something that is of interest to you, please make sure that you get in touch with me. And I'll just put my number up here because I like doing phone calls. That's just who I am. And it's an amazing opportunity. And the ticket sales, the tickets are $25, and a person can come to the whole 3 days, or they can just come and hear the speaker they want to hear. And actually, our speakers sell our seats, and they get to keep the money. So this is not really about us, making money on the backs of people who've had a really hard time at all. But our speakers keep the money, and that's how they get paid. And then afterwards, if you want a recording of the summit, we charge $25 for the recording. So it's pretty inexpensive, and all of our speakers donate a gift. So we have prizes, and it's a fun time. We just did our 3rd one, and it took 2 or 3 to get the kinks worked out. You know how that is. So September ought to be like rocking. We had I think around 60 guests this past weekend. So that was really cool. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, yes, I want to share this. We're going to take a little break, and we'll watch some snowflakes float up in the air. But this is an opportunity to, good morning, Kathy. Kathy always supports our show. She's our backup person, and every guest will hear from Kathy because we have a gift for our guest when they are here, if it's your first time. If it's your first time on the Today Show, that is, right? Okay, so now the next thing is I'm going to just throw up a little 30-second blurb here. And this is an opportunity for you to advertise on the show, sponsor a show, because the Today Show is themed. So Monday is self-care, self-improvement, personal development, empowerment, and we love our guests who are involved in those industries to come on. That's the industry we're in. I'm in, so that's our home show. And Tuesdays, finance with Dr. Ramin Modiri, and always a fun time with him because he has a way of taking complicated financial perspectives and making them really simple so that we, the layperson, can understand things. And he has every financial designation you can actually get in the United States of America. So he's like a walking encyclopedia, but extremely down to earth. And I never met an accountant who had a heart. But he's not only an accountant, he's a financial planner. He actually was a portfolio manager for wealthy soccer players. And he's a big soccer fan. He's been playing soccer since he was a kid and coaching. And let's see, Wednesday is wellness. That's today. And today we have Rob Pallante. We're going to talk wellness. And Thursday, tomorrow, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. So I've invited a group of veterans to come on the show with me and do a panel. And we're going to talk about some various lives of some veterans and what's going on in the veteran world. Because, of course, Veterans House is a big part of the Disability Channel, so it's all connected. And then Friday's up for grabs. We do artists, authors, musicians, single moms who are bringing up a great family, anybody who's making a difference. It's so this Friday we have a young filmmaker from New York, and we also have a musician, I believe it is. We're going to do 2 guests on Friday. Okay, so let's take our little break, and I'll bring Rob into the studio. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you're watching the Today Show. And here's our very special guy, Rob Pallante. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Laurie. How are you today?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I am fantastic.
How's the weather? Yeah, good. We'll do like a 2-minute weather commercial here. It's beautiful here in Alberta, windy, but the sun's out. What about in your neck of the woods?
Here in Toronto, we're a little overcast, but we've got warm temperatures, and they're calling for a little bit of maybe potential rain later this afternoon. So
great.
Not too bad.
Right. Well, we had Rob on the press box last week. And when I found out more about him, I said, Rob, I need you on the wellness show because this guy's all about wellness, mentally, physically, emotionally. So, Rob, why don't we start out with a product that you've embraced and why you're passionate about it? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the product is Brain Armor. I'm actually wearing the shirt here today. One of the things that I'm really passionate about. So let me just kind of take you back a little bit.
Yeah,
being a former athlete, and you know a little bit of my backstory, Laurie, and playing in a contact sport like hockey back in a day when there wasn't concussion protocols and there wasn't the safekeeping that they have today to watch over. I'm pretty sure I've suffered more concussions than I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole remember part might be a part of the fact that I had so many concussions or I've been punched in the head too many times.
Right.
That said, kind of fast forward, and I was in a motorcycle accident that we can talk about, and so this product, Brain Armor, is a product that my family happens to be involved with. We own the rights to it. What it really essentially is a very high dose omega-3 product but it doesn't come from the fish. So a lot of people think, oh, omega-3, yeah, I know it's good, but I don't like the way it tastes because, I have an aftertaste and it burps up and it's this fishy taste, although we know that omega-3s are really good for us. What we do with this product is it's actually derived from the algae oil, the
Oh,
algae that the fish eat. So essentially, we're cutting out the middleman. We're getting rid of the fish and saying, hey, we don't need you anymore, which is good because when you look at safety and sustainability in the market out there today, overfishing and the fact that some of the fish that are being overfished for their omega-3s, a lot of them might be damaged or have overexposure to certain metals. What this does is it completely eliminates that. And the positive part of the omega-3, and it's more than just omega-3s, but what we're learning through this is that the positive effects that it has on your brain can help slow down and or reverse some of the damage that can be done over time. So we know that our brains are made up of like 86 billion neurons, and there's this ability now that we understand through neuroplasticity that we can regenerate these connections. It was always thought that we couldn't do that, but now through science and advanced science, we know that we can now regenerate these neurons. And on average, we can generate about 700 healthy new brain cells daily if we're
wow.
properly supplementing. And
Wow.
and so that's huge. Going from we can't regenerate our neurons to now we can generate over 700 new healthy brain cells on a daily basis. So if you've lived a lifestyle perhaps where you were burning more brain cells or you've had damage, through injuries or things of that nature, taking proper supplementation to enhance your brain functionality is really starting to become a predominant science, and people are becoming more awake to it.
So what you're saying, I just throw out an example, and then you can
Sure.
help me with this. So in 2012, my husband, who was perfectly healthy, non-smoker, active guy, had a massive stroke,
Mm.
and um, he's recovered beautifully because I refused to put him in an institution. I rehabbed him at home.
Yeah.
At the same time, that has to happen fairly quickly, but there is brain damage when you have a stroke.
Mhm.
So is it that kind of a repair that can happen, or is that a separate issue?
Yeah, I mean, I got to be careful. I don't want to say that it's going to fix that, obviously,
No.
but what it can do is it can help enhance
Yes.
and expedite some of that development, right? Is it
Right.
going to completely reverse any of the damage that's been done? It might not completely reverse it, but it's certainly not going to hinder it. If anything,
Right.
it's going to contribute to the redevelopment of some of those brain cells and neurons that may have been damaged through the stroke, for sure.
Right. Right. That's amazing.
It is, and
Oh,
some
I
of
feel like I
the
want some right now.
so I mean, more than just the brain too. The other areas that the brain armor product can affect is obviously there's an increase in omega-3s, and the one thing I should say is that this product has all kinds of clinical studies behind it, and the people that are associated behind these clinical studies are very, very well known neuroplastic surgeons and brain surgeons. So if anybody's familiar with that movie Concussion,
Yes.
that featured Will Smith, and that was coming off the heels of CTE and understanding some of the damage that was done to football players. One of the doctors in that movie, who was portrayed by Alex Baldwin, is Dr. Julian Bales. So he's a neurosurgeon, very heavily vested in studying the brain and CTE of contact sport athletes. Well, he's one of the big supporters of brain armor. And if you go on the site, you'll be able to see a video from Dr. Julian Bales. He's always available to talk about brain armor and the benefits of it. What we're seeing over the clinical studies that we've done on average, and now the product's been out for a number of years now, and we've got NCAA schools using it, athletes, NHL, NFL, the PAs, they all support this product because they understand the benefits of it. But we're seeing an increase in our omega-3 by 65, just under 66%. We're seeing a decrease in omega-6, which is the bad omega acid, by 35%. And we're seeing an increase or a decrease on average of 52% in inflammatory markers.
Wow.
So if we know anything about what's going
Oh,
on in our bodies today, inflammation contributes to so many different factors that affect our health. If we can reduce that by supplementing with a product like Brain Armor, reduce our inflammatory markers by 50%, why would we not be taking it?
wow. I've just thought of 3 people. The 3 people that I know personally
Wow,
with
perfect.
huge inflammatory issues,
Yeah,
right? Because of the age group that I'm in, I'm a senior. So, all my friends have all these things going on, and I'm like, what are you doing? And, they go to big pharma, and then that creates some more complications
yeah.
because they're on one pill for one thing, and then that creates problems. So they go get another one for another. It's crazy.
That's a whole other conversation, Laurie.
That's another whole
Just,
show.
I'm about a month away from being a senior myself, so
Are you? Okay.
yeah, I'll be 55 in July officially.
Oh,
So
July what?
I can go to Shoppers and get my 15% off every on the what is it, the first
Yeah,
Tuesday of every
right,
month.
right.
Um,
July
but
what?
but this is certainly something that I've added to my diet with some of the issues that I've had, the concussions. There was a time there where I was, when I was going through recovery, I was feeling slow and lethargic. I felt like, that my brain just wasn't firing the way it was. I could feel my body wasn't right. And after taking this product, and substituting it or adding it into my diet on a daily basis, I noticed the difference.
Wow.
There's big differences in the way that I'm able to process my memory, the sharpness that I have, the inflammation markers. And here's something really cool. How many supplements do you know out there promote the fact that they encourage you to take a blood sample and get your beginning biomarkers before you take the product, then take the product for 90 days, and then have you submit your sample again and show you the improvements are. That's what we do. We actually
Wow.
partner with a company called Omega Quant, who will provide you with a little test kit, and you can get it. You can get it through us. You can get it online through them. And we encourage everybody that starts with our product, understand and know what your beginning biomarkers are. So it'll tell you what your omega-3s are. It'll tell you what your inflammatory markers are. It'll give you what your omega-6 markers are. And you know what your baseline is. Now start taking the product. And we say take the product for 60 to 90 days and then submit your test again. All it is just, it comes with a little finger prick. You tap your finger, on a little piece of paper, and you drop it in the mail free of charge anywhere in North America. Send it in, and then you'll get an email back with what your biomarkers are. So now you know where
Wow.
you're starting. 90 days later, do it again and watch the improvements.
Wow.
Not
When's
many
your birthday?
supplements will stand behind their product with
Oh,
that kind of a clinical support.
phew. I know a lot of them, and I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah. So very powerful. Very simple to do. I've got a couple of samples. So here
Yeah.
is what it looks like in our pro format. Very
Okay.
simple to take. Just tear the top off. This is what I take every day. The doses in this one are a little bit higher, but easy to grab and go. The other one we have is our 120 soft gels. So it
Oh,
looks
nice.
like this.
Okay.
And I got some, I don't know what's going on in the background.
Yep. That's good.
But
Yep.
you'll see that product. We are going to be doing a little bit of a logo change, but you can buy the product right now. It's available online. If you were to go to brainarmor.com, you'll notice a pop up at the beginning when you come in to neurocharge your body, and you can get the product at 30% off your first order.
Wow. And you recommend a dosage every day?
Yes, I recommend taking it every day. So, with these, with the capsules, you're taking 4 capsules a day. There's 120 in a bottle. So, I would recommend ordering 3 bottles to start. Get your 30% off. That'll give you your 90-day coverage and get you started on your wellness plan.
Cool. When's your birthday?
July the 26th.
Okay. I'm July 7th. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, is that right?
Oh,
Gosh,
yeah.
my brother's
Mhm.
on the 8th. And my son is on the 2nd.
Oh, wow.
A lot of July birthdays.
Cancerians. Okay.
I'm a Leo. I
You're a
fall on
Leo.
the side.
Yes, I was going to say.
We can
So,
still be friends, though, Laurie.
yeah, that's right. Okay, we will. So, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's an
I'll be
incredible
going in
product,
there.
and we're really
Yeah.
we're really starting to get noticed in the market. There are a lot of and I can't use everybody's name that's using it, but there's a lot
No.
of high profile athletes that are taking our product, and they understand the health benefits of it and the lifestyle of it. It's great for any age. You don't have to be an adult.
Oh,
This is
yes.
also a product that's great for prenatal mothers because of the BDNF that's in the product that contributes to brain development.
Oh,
So
wow.
BDNF is, and I got to refer to my notes because it's a long word.
Yes.
It's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and this is a naturally occurring protein that's responsible for the growth, maintenance, and survival of our neurons. So prenatal mothers benefit greatly in the development of the baby while they're still in the room, and that prenatal and brain development. This is a great contributing supplement.
Wow. Well, that takes me in a totally different direction, Rob, because I'm thinking about, for example, let's say moms who've been drinking or they were an addict or, um, and they've cleaned and sobered up, but then they get pregnant. And sometimes, those babies are born still behind the 8 ball. They don't have that advantage. So, yeah, wow.
I think anything you can do. Obviously as a mother, and regardless of what your past is, and if you're on a road to recovery, and now you're pregnant with child, let's think about giving that child the best possible opportunity. And if you can add something as simple as brain armor, not only for yourself but for the development of that fetus and the brain of that fetus, why would we not take it? It's a very inexpensive solution.
Right. And the other thing is, it's not drugs,
It's not drugs.
right? Not pharmaceutical drugs,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I mean, what
Beautiful.
we've discovered is with this omega-3 fatty acid, which we refer to as DHA, this is one of the most important ingredients to boost that BDNF that I was just explaining. It stimulates the production of new brain cells, and it strengthens the existing ones. So
Wow.
it seems like a no-brainer to add brain armor to your diet.
I like that. I like that.
Right?
I
Our
like that.
tagline is, "What have you done for your brain today?"
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's amazing. All right. Well, let's talk about why you're passionate about that, because you talked about a motorcycle accident. You were an athlete. So, what can happen to us when we have those kinds of traumas, those physical traumas?
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and I know this is only an hour show, so I'll try and keep it short.
Well, we'll have you back. So, if we don't finish what we want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, my journey has been been a little bit of a crazy one with some of the things that have happened. Being growing up in just outside of Toronto in Mississauga, being a hockey player and excelling at the sport. Being fortunate enough to receive a scholarship playing in the U.S. And then having an opportunity to play a little bit of pro hockey If you don't recognize my name, I'm not offended because I wasn't that good. But I made my living in the minor leagues, and then suffered through a number of different injuries and setbacks, and that kind of contributed to my story a little bit about what I do now, which is today not only do I promote Brain Armor, but I'm a mental performance coach, and I work with a lot of athletes on the mental game. We spend so much time working on the physical part of our game and our skills and our nutrition, and all of those things are important. But I look at it like a four-legged stool. And in order to balance a four-legged stool, you've got your technical, tactical, physical, and mental. And most athletes are only working on three of them, which means the one leg is going to be a little bit shorter than the others. And if you've ever sat on a chair in a restaurant or had a table that wasn't balanced, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So what I try and do is add that element of the mental game and help lengthen that and support that part of their game and their performance. And that comes from, like you, Laurie, over my little bit shorter term, but my history as a player, the practical things that I went through, and the experience that I can bring. When I got done playing, I spent 25 years in the corporate world at all levels, right from a regional salesperson all the way up to executive vice president, and I led leadership teams. So I've taken all of that experience and kind of put it together into this mental performance training. And for me, the biggest turning point for me was back in 2015. I was well past my hockey playing days, and I was into my professional career. At the time, I was going through a divorce, separation. I had two young children. I was not living at home. I had left the matrimonial home, and it was on the particular day was August 22nd, 2015, and I happened to be out on my Harley. I was riding down to the house to pick up my daughter. I was coaching her little U7 or U8 soccer team, and we were playing in the end of the season festival. I thought I'd take her for a little ride on the bike, a couple of blocks over to the soccer field. Thank God I did not get to her and have her on the bike. I got hit before that. I was hit head on by a woman who was on her cell phone. So you people on your cell phone, put them down, get your eyes on the road, and pay attention to what's going on. It was obviously a horrible experience that day. I don't remember exactly what happened after I got hit, but I know that I had multiple injuries, crushed the left side of my body, broke my ribs down the front and back, punctured my lung, ruptured my elbow, fractured my scapula, had two tears in my aorta. I had a lacerated spleen and shattered my ankle. Not to mention a little bit of head trauma because I hit the side of the road and rolled into the gravel. When I eventually got out of the hospital and went and got my properties back from the police department, my helmet had been torn all the way around. So thank God I was wearing a helmet. Otherwise, I may not be here today. Regardless to say, I was fighting for my life in the hospital that night. When I got in, my kidneys failed, and the doctors had recommended that my family get a priest and give me my last rites because they didn't think I was going to survive. Spoiler alert, I made it. Here I am sitting here today, 2 weeks in ICU, 9 surgeries, and I was told 120 days, but I walked out of there in 40, Laurie, because
wow,
the Lord had a different plan for me. And it was a nurse when I got out of ICU who said, we've had people in here with less injuries than you and not survive. You've been given a second chance at life. Don't waste it. And that was a turnaround aha moment for me that, here I am at 45 years old, fighting for my life, laying in a hospital bed, 2 young children and an ex-wife who rely on my income. But I also had to take stock of who I was up until that point, the type of person I was, all of the finger pointing that I did through my lifetime, and the excuses that I made, and own them all. And that really, I had to become within inches of my life to be set on a different path. And now, my mission is to be a servant leader, to help others, working back in sports with young athletes, because when I quit the game, I actually hated it. And what I really found out was I didn't like who I had become. And
Hmm.
I used a lot of blaming during that period of time. So very fortunate to still be here today. Grateful to be on your show. I'm grateful to wake up every day and have an opportunity to speak to an audience like you guys out there today. Talk about my journey, share my story, and promote products like Brain Armor that can contribute to your health and wellness on your journey.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a little break. And then when we come back, let's talk a little more about your work and what you do with those young athletes and what it is that you're wanting to accomplish there. So, my guest today, Rob Pallante, talking about brain health and actually a product that we can feed it. I love it. And we do our little 30-second spot just to let you know that there are opportunities here to advertise, sponsor the show, have your products, programs, and services showcased. So we're looking forward to that happening very soon. We wanted to put the show out there for about a month before we really started to promote that, because we wanted numbers and viewers, and we wanted to have something to offer our advertisers. So here we go. You can watch snowflakes going up in the air for 30 seconds. But just imagine this could be your product, book, cause, upcoming event, whatever. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you're watching the Today Show here on the Disability Channel. And my special guest today, Rob Pallante, and we've been talking about a few things. But pay attention and be sure to watch the show. And if you're watching the show live, share it. If you're picking it up on social media, share it, because this might be something that there might be one thing that Rob said that could change somebody's life. And that's what we're all about, is helping other people change their life. We can't change you, but we can show you how to change you.
Absolutely.
So, Rob, let's talk a little bit about, be a little more specific and help us to understand what it is that you do now. When you have a client, when you get a client for coaching, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish with that particular client?
Yeah,
I
a lot
suppose
of times.
things, but
We don't fix anything. Like I say, I don't fix anything. What I do is I help uncover. I believe that people have the ability inside themselves, and they got to want to change, right? And all it is, and I tell all my young athletes this: you're one decision away from a different outcome, right?
right.
And that's typically what it is. So what I do today is, I take, if you're listening to the first half of the show, what I do is I take some of the experiences that I had and I go a little bit deeper. During my hockey career, the first part of it, I'll say the minor hockey part of it went really, really well. I was very highly touted. There was a lot of talk that I had the potential to play at the next level, whatever that was, junior, college, even pro. And I really hadn't had to overcome a whole lot of adversity. And I know there's a lot of, what people might refer to as young elite athletes. And I cringe when I hear that term elite when you're applying it to a 10, 11, or 12-year-old, because so much can change. They might have an advantage skill-wise at that age. But what I can tell you is as you get older and you start progressing to the next levels, everybody's skilled and everybody's talented. And what I've learned, in my 54 years and 11 months is that once you get talent versus talent, the thing that's going to help carry you to the next level is that mental game. And that's the difference between the 1 or 2 or 3% at the top of every sport and everybody else. And if your dream and goal is to be that 1 or 2 or 3%, you have to start to build mental conditioning and mental fitness into your routine and your rituals today. So one of the things that I work with, Laurie, is, I come across a lot young athletes that are suffering from confidence issues, self-awareness issues. They're playing the blame game. They're relying only on skill, and then when adversity comes, or a coach isn't playing them, or they're in a slump, they think that it's something that they can work through physically, and there's a small part of that, but a lot of times it comes down to the way that we are thinking. And everything we do starts with a thought. And when young athletes can start to grasp that concept, whether it's a positive or a negative thought, and we have between 40 and 60,000 of them a day. And here's the thing, when you can start to become self-aware to understand your thoughts, now you become powerful enough to be able to stop the negative ones, intercept them, and then change the way you think. And I have a little slogan that I use: what you think becomes what you say. What you say becomes what you do. Those actions become your habits, and your habits eventually become your legacy. And so if you're not thinking positively and believing in yourself, and talking nicely to yourself, because self-talk is a big one, and then you're not focusing on the right things, then the actions you take or don't take are going to contribute to the outcomes that you get or don't get.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so a lot of the program is helping young athletes understand where they are, and that they do have the ability to change the outcomes. Now, I use a little formula. E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. And in that formula, we don't control the event and we don't control the outcome. And that's a hard thing for people to understand, because we spend most of our time setting goals based on events and outcomes. But the only thing we really have control over is our response
Mm-hmm.
to that event. And
Mm-hmm.
typically, you have two choices when you're responding: it's an emotional response or it's a behavioral response. When we respond with emotion, typically we're not affecting the outcome that we are hoping for. If you learn to choose a behavioral response, and in the sports world, you have a better chance of influencing that outcome in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that moment when we get to choose.
Oh, yes. And no, what I've come to know, Rob, is no one gets to control that. That's something that we own.
Mm,
So we are totally responsible. No one can take away our power of decision making.
100%.
So nobody can touch that. That's it's like going. No one can go to the bathroom for you,
Right.
and that's the one thing that I do know
Yeah.
in regards to that. But so let's just give our viewers a live example here. So this morning,
Yes.
the first half of the show, Rob shared some very good information about brain armor and how it works and why it works. So there's the event, right? There's the event.
Yes.
Now, how our viewers choose to respond to that, they could say, well, that's just another bunch of stuff. There's so much stuff out there. Or they could say, like I did, I wrote down 3 names while you were talking. So that was my response to the
Yeah.
event, right?
Well, and here's
Serving,
the
serving.
outcome they might be looking for is to be, a little bit sharper, reduce your body
Yeah,
inflammation. They might already have these goals, right? And
yeah,
those are what I call your outcome goals. But
right.
the only way to influence those is the way you respond, as you just said, Laurie. What
Yeah,
action are you taking that is leading you towards that outcome?
exactly. So here's one of my clients, Lisa Hart. Well, she's not a client anymore. She's been with us for 10 years, veteran of our products, and she brought her son, and they're a self-worth family. So she's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I love her answer. She said, our response is what we can control, but we can only influence the outcome with our response.
Lisa, you're bang on. That's great.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Here's a very, very simple little skill or exercise that I would recommend early on to some of my clients. Get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On one side of the line, you put things I control, and on the other side of the line, put things I don't control.
Mhm.
When you write down those things, so let's take an example, an athlete. We'll use a hockey player because why not?
Yeah,
Right? We're Canadian.
that's
So
right.
a hockey player might write down on the side of things he can't control. My ice time, what the coach thinks, um, you know, the weather, road conditions, ice conditions, what my teammates do, what my competition does, what the referees do. All of those things you don't control, right? On the other side of the line, things you can control. My work ethic, my attitude, how I show up, the standards I live by, how hard I pursue pucks, my compete level, all those sort of things you can control. What I tell them to do now is look on the side of things you can't control and put a line through them. There's power in putting pen to paper. Put a
Yes.
line through those things and eliminate them. Now go to the other side of things you can control, circle one. That's your intention for today.
Yeah,
How can you control that? And
I
then
love that.
once you've got that, circle another one. It's a very simple drill or skill that
Mhm.
you can use that calls out the things you can't control and where you're putting your attention.
Right.
Where is your focus? Right?
And that could apply to any of us for any reason. We could do that little exercise just right now,
Absolutely.
in our business, in our personal life, yeah, finances,
You
everything.
name it. Because there's
Yeah.
so many different thoughts that are going through our head every day. And a lot of people try and they're trying to manage through this thought process. And you've got 40 to 60 thousand thoughts a day. How can you
Yeah,
possibly manage those? And here's the thing: when thoughts come into your mind, those 40 to 60,000, you can only focus on one at a time. But
I
then what
know.
happens is we get what's called monkey brain, where all these thoughts start to play off of each other, and we're trying
Mhm.
to organize them in our mind. And then here's the other thing that we know now as humans, and studies support this: that 90% of our thoughts are repetitive, or sorry, was it 90% are repetitive, and 85% of those are negative.
Yes.
So we're having so many more negative thoughts than we are positive thoughts. Being able to become self-aware of what we're thinking, that simple exercise of writing down what you can control and what you can't control. Now what you're doing is you're able to compartmentalize your thoughts and
Mhm.
focus on what is most going to help you get the outcome that you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. And when you shared that exercise, um, I had a client here a while back. He's 13, and
Oh,
oops, oh, there we go.
I think
Came
we
once a
both
week
on
for a while.
it. There we go.
So one day he came in and I said, "How was your week?" And he said, "Well, Laurie, it was really interesting." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Dad sat me down and he got me to draw a line down the middle of the page." So here's one for parents, similar but different. So they had suspected that maybe he was vaping or smoking. They just kind of thought that. Uh, so his dad said, "Okay, on this side, I want you to write down everything that you love."
Hmm.
Well, I love my family. I love hunting. I love fishing. I love when we go quadding. I love when we go in our RV in the summer. And he made this big list of all the, because he was, they have a great life.
Yeah.
So then he said, "Okay, on the other side, I want you to write down all the things that you see kids doing at your school that you know are troublesome." So he wrote drugs, vaping, smoking, cheating, getting out of class, blah, blah, blah. And then his father said, "Well, guess what? If you choose anything on that side, all the other stuff that you love is going to go away."
Hmm.
Is that
Yeah.
powerful?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Very powerful.
So that reminded me, what you did there reminded me of that, but that's a little note for
You know,
parents.
I shared this on the last show, Laurie, if you remember.
Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
very similar to what I tell the young athletes I work with. I stand in the front of a room of a team and I'll hold up an apple and a bag of Doritos.
Oh,
And I'll
yeah.
say, guys, which one is a healthier choice? Well, they know they're going to pick the apple, right? The apple's a healthier choice. sometimes say they want to try a bag of Doritos, right? The challenge now is once you choose the Doritos, it becomes easier and easier to choose the Doritos, right? The discipline is staying focused on what's the best choice for me that's going to help move me forward, right? And so what I say is, every choice you make every day, and you're going to have hundreds of them, you're either choosing an apple or you're choosing Doritos, right? One moves you forward, one takes you a step back. But the problem with choosing Doritos more than once is it becomes easier and easier. And you got to be careful because in a year from now, you might be sinking in a bag of Doritos wishing you chose the apple. And that's what we talked about, that one decision away from changing the course of your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I used to tell my girlfriends, you realize, my single girlfriends, I said, you realize you're only one relationship away from becoming a bag lady, right? Yeah. So, that's right. Decisions are important. And I like to explain the difference between a choice and a decision. A lot of people think that, they'll say things like, I didn't have a choice or I made the wrong choice. No, choices means we have options. So if I go to a Chinese buffet and I've got a bunch of choices, nothing happens till I take the plate and I go up there and I decide to have an egg roll. And I have to back that up with action and put it on the plate. That's a decision.
That's right.
Choices means we have options. But a lot of people are afraid to make decisions. And we know there's all kinds of reasons why that is.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about an athlete who is trying to become the best version of themselves in their sport and they're aiming for that 1 to 3%, I actually challenge them and say, do you really have a choice?
Ooh.
Because I don't think you do. We know that success leaves clues. And if you look at the ones that have come before you that are in that 1 to 3% of the most elite athletes in your sport, what did they do? If you follow success, success leaves clues. That means that if they chose not to go out and party on Friday night, if they chose, to work on their skills, their development, their mental game, their health, their nutrition, in times when everybody else was going out to have fun, then do you have a choice?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Exactly.
That's discipline.
That's right. That's right. And that reminds me of a personal story. I was with the Mary Kay organization for 12 years. That's what I did after I left teaching.
Did you have a pink car?
I had 4 of them.
You had 4 of them? God bless.
Yes. I was with the company for 12 years. So
Nice.
we got a new one every 2 years, right? So,
awesome.
But anyway, I drove my first pink Cadillac to school because I joined the company while I was still teaching. And just for fun. I just did it for a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So 18 months later, I had a pink Cadillac and I was driving it to school. And my kids loved it. They would draw pictures of it and everything.
Yeah.
But one of the teachers said to me, well, aren't you lucky? Now you have 3 cars.
Aren't you lucky?
Because my husband and I each had a vehicle. And now I had this 3rd vehicle. And I said, well, luck had nothing to do with it. While you were sitting home on the couch on Tuesday night and Thursday night watching television, eating a bag of potato chips, I was out selling my products and demonstrating my products. There was no luck involved. It was a decision.
Luck happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes, exactly.
That's when luck happens.
Wow.
Good
That's
for you.
amazing. Mm-hmm. That was a long time ago. And that's when I left them in 1992 to, start my own business. And that's where we've been in this business for 32 years now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you saw an opportunity and you took advantage of it.
Yeah.
When people say that, oh, you're so lucky.
I know. Yeah. They didn't say I was so lucky when I had 2 failed marriages, though, or I went bankrupt one time, or anything else bad that happened.
So,
nobody said you were lucky then. But
nobody
that was a good
sees that part of it, right? Everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants to go through the process.
right.
That's something that I teach my athletes. everybody wants to stand on the podium like we just saw. Like, if you're hockey fans, the Memorial Cup just ended. Saginaw Spirit from the OHL beat London Knights in the finals. And you see all these young men that will be standing on there, standing in there, and they're holding the Memorial Cup, arguably one of the most difficult championships to win because of how many series you have to go through. And, I've heard young players go, "Oh, look how lucky those guys are. They won the Memorial Cup." Luck had nothing to do with it.
No.
That's preparation. That's
Planning.
commitment. That's compete. That's consistency. Those things don't just happen by chance.
No.
It's the hours and hours and hours of preparation that these young men put in, and the discipline behind that to stay together as a unit and focused. And all oars in the water at the same time, rowing in the same direction to accomplish that. Luck had nothing to do with it.
No. And I get those comments all the time now because I'm on the back end of everything, and it looks like it all arrived on a silver platter somehow. No. You know how many tens of thousands of hours I've been on the air in the last 25 years, or when I embraced voice technology in 2002, like I've got like about 60,000 hours online.
And all of a sudden you're an overnight success.
Yeah, well, that's how long it takes, about 20 years.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So every time we did something, it was a practice. It was, how do I talk to this person? How do I interview an athlete? How do I talk to a celebrity? How do I, yeah, exactly.
I completely agree. And this is where you look for those opportunities. And sometimes, even for myself, when I started out, not everything I did, I got paid for. And I realized like I got to cut my teeth, and I've got to learn just, like everybody else. It doesn't matter how many years of experience that I had before I got into the mental performance game. And I think I shared this with you on the Press Box show. Being a former hockey player, I thought it was going to be easy to go back to my old contacts and say, "Hey, look at me, I'm here and I'm doing mental performance coaching." Well, first of all, I had to prove to them that I wasn't the guy that I used to be.
Right.
Because I had the mental part down, but not so much the performance side. My past life was a little bit different than what it is today, but I had to go through that change and now come out, and now it's time for me to pay my dues again. So I started working with athletes just that would allow me the opportunity to work with them.
Exactly.
And I'm grateful for every single one of them. And sometimes, being in a position like you or I are in, and being a servant leader, it doesn't always come with a paycheck. And I think that's what I enjoy most, is the work that I'm able to give of myself in those opportunities when people might need it most.
Exactly.
And most are more rewarding than the paid ones.
No, I've done tons of that. Tons and tons. Years and years. Right. Now, Kathy has a little comment here just to kind of sum things up, and our time is almost up. We've got about 3 or 4 more minutes. But Kathy says, the Grey Cup went to Montreal last year, a team that no one thought would win, but they were the team who mentally really came together and really bonded. I guess that made the difference. Hey, Rob?
Well, absolutely. And I've played on teams, and thank you for that comment, Kathy. It's a great depiction of what a team can do, and when you overcome those expectations of when armchair quarterbacks say on paper this team should win, because we know that it's not always just skill and talent. And when you have the desire and you can come together as a team in a team sport like that, and mentally overcome and mentally outdo your opponents, time after time, play after play, and wear them down, and you have that no quit and high compete attitude, the sky's the limit. There's nothing that can hold you back.
Exactly. So in wrapping up,
believe more. They believe more than the other team did.
That's right. So in wrapping up, Rob, do you want to give us one more plug for Brain Armor or something in case someone just joined us? People are joining us here now that didn't hear
absolutely.
the first half.
Please, there's all kinds of information if you go to brainarmor.com. First off, you're going to get an opportunity and presented with a 30% off your first purchase. What I recommend is get a 3-month supply, because we know that through all our scientific and clinical testing that the best results will come after 90 days of taking the product. Why not get 30% off it on your first order? Start to incorporate Brain Armor into your daily supplementation. There's nothing but positive benefits. Increased omega-3s, 50% reduction in inflammation, and a decrease in your omega-6 levels. It's going to lead to a healthy brain. You're going to help produce up to 700 or more new healthy brain cells on a daily basis. And this is a product that anybody at any age can take.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so very much for supporting us on our Wellness Wednesday, because we love talking to people who have other ways for us to get well, other than conventional ways. Sometimes we need that, but at the same time, there's so much going on right now with technology developing new things every day. So thank you for that, Rob, and also for your story. Go ahead.
I should also add, Laurie, that the product is vegan friendly.
Oh, is it?
It's
Okay.
vegan friendly.
Vegan friendly. That's good to know. That's
For those
very
out
good
there
to
that
know.
are vegans, this product will fit in your diet. But all kinds of information on there. Again, Laurie, thank you so much for having me on. Always fun having a conversation with you.
All right. Somebody
What's
always.
next? What are we doing next, Laurie?
What are we doing next? Well, we're gonna have a meeting, I think.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Tomorrow is Thursday, and actually June 6th tomorrow, the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the end of World War II. And that's always dear to my heart because my dad was a World War II veteran. And we're going to have some veterans on tomorrow to just honor D-Day and talk about our veterans, past and present and future. So we have the amazing Stephen Beardwood coming on, and Jill Younghusband and a friend of hers, all who served our country. And we're going to be chatting up with them tomorrow. So bye for now, and talk to you soon.
God bless the veterans.
Yes, absolutely.